So I didn't make me a nice, pretty little slideshow like he did, so I'm sorry for that. But I teach fourth grade writing, and that's the first year that they actually have to put pencil to paper, really. I mean, I know that they do before then, but they really have to put pencil to paper in an organized manner to make sure that they can pass that STAR writing test. So everything that I do has to do with that test, so unfortunately my assignment here had to do with that test too. So we use Google Classroom as our platform for them to turn everything in. And we use Gretchen Burnaby style writing, so they have to use the kernel and so I made a digital version of that so that they could, I made a copy of it, they had it, and they were able to add their stuff in, and I printed it out for them so that they could have that and write their papers from that. They typed all their papers in, using the iPads into Google, and I used a Google form so that they could go through and check themselves, their editing process. But when they sent that, I sent out copies to the other students so that they could help edit everybody's paper. So they edited it. They tried to edit collaboratively in one paper. After that, it got sent back to me, and I was able to print it out. And then, long story short, they got to use a to make a nice, pretty presentation. To show you all of that, I made an iMovie because our next step in our writing process is persuasive writing. And after they write their persuasive paper, they're going to make a persuasive video to go along with it. So I made a persuasive video for you guys to enjoy on why you should use Google Classroom and all of those good things in writing. So here we go. Hopefully it works. Can we get the...
Girls, today we're going to write an essay.
Are you crazy? I don't even have a pencil. You already made all these markings on it. Why do I have to write all this again? What does this one say? I don't know. Oh, I was supposed to expect that you were going to run this next time. I was supposed to read
It's very quiet when they're all typing. Here's the examples, sorry.
I was sitting at my desk when I could have been sitting by myself in that chair watching TV with my glass, writing. I was outside the night before President's Day wondering why I had to go to school the next day when suddenly I heard a sound, a really loud sound. I'm gonna pretend I'm sick, screamed my brother, loudly over and over at the top of his lungs. In case you were wondering, he did go to school the next day. While getting dropped off, my mom told me that we got February 27th off of school for a teacher work day. I thought it was fair. While learning at school, I thought about what my mom said and I was ready to count down the days. Then I was at school getting homework, and writing, and all this stuff. I wished I was at home. Later on that day, I went to dance at 5 o'clock, and after 1.5 hours of dancing, I was finally home and the day was over. Now I know it's fair that President's Day is a school day, but we have the 27th off.
I ended up having every single child turn in a paper, which was very abnormal. I'm usually chasing after those papers at the last minute, but they all wanted to do that Erasmus. And they thought that that was the neatest thing in the world to be able to get to that point. So they all worked really, really hard to get there. One other thing that I had to wrap up, I didn't have this in my little lesson plan thing, but one other thing that I did do was the few little stragglers. I had to have a little extra carrot out there for them to get ready to turn theirs in. So I had a paper to write, and I made a thing where they could actually use the pencil in Trello. They used the pen, and they were able to move their little card to all the different areas where they needed to be. When they conferenced with me, I was able to write on the back of their card what they needed to change in their paper, so that whenever I go back to check their papers, I can see if they made those changes. So anyway, that was just did, but we had a lot. Did learn it that didn't normally want to write, like my autistic kids and the kids that have dyslexia that don't want to put those pencils to paper. They loved this, so I was able to get a lot of the STAR testing. For this year, I have several that are doing speech to text, and I have several who are going to type their papers for the STAR test. So I'm really excited to see how that turns out. And all because of this. That's awesome. Here we go.